last time we found the true killer of John H. Watson, but didn't matter because of extraterritorial rights. So good use of our time. And we also watched the intro for the next episode, which we'll do again. But I had no idea what I was watching in that intro. Let's do it again.
狭い部屋の片隅、深い闇の中でホームズと私は息を潜めて待っていた。やがて通気口からシューシューと低くうなるような音が聞こえてきた。その瞬間、突然ホームズが飛び出して闇の一点をステッキで鋭く打ち据えた。見たかワトソン。ホームズの張り詰めた声が空気を震わす。私がランプの遮光板を上げると、部屋の情景がぼんやり浮かび上がった。ホームズは部屋の隅を睨みつけて私に向かってつぶやくように言った。被害者が死の間際に言い残したまだらの紐という謎の言葉。その恐ろしい正体こそがこいつだったのだよ、ワトソン。そこには巨大な毒蛇が牙をむき、威嚇するようにとぐろを巻いていた。それは世にも恐ろしいまだらの紐だった。
それでは謎解きを始めるとしようか。この奇怪なる殺人事件、その真相をね。失礼。犯行時、扉は内側から缶抜きがかかっていた。缶抜きに細工された痕跡はない。犯行の際、この現場は完全な密室状態だったわけだ。被害者は死の間際にメッセージを残したようだ。ここに落ちているインクを使って書いたと考えられる。ロシア語。どうやら被害者はロシア人ということか。文字に全く乱れは感じられない。被害者は相当意志が強かったのだろう。見たことのない妙な文字だな。筆跡はこのメッセージとは明らかに違う。いや、これはむしろ人種が違うと断言してもいいかもしれない。札を貼ったのは犯行時間の直前、被害者自身だったようだな。ほう、これは
一体貴様は何なんだ。好き勝手しやがって。
そうです。海洋警察が到着するまで現場に手を触れず待つべきだ。
その必要はない。どうやら今から5秒以内に諸君を犯人に紹介できそうだ。
バカを言うな。殺人現場だぞ。しかも奇怪な密室殺人だ。
それでは密室の謎、その封印を解くとしましょうか。
まさかその中に犯人が。
一体君は何者なのだ。僕は大英帝国が誇る世界の名探偵なのです。シャーロック・ホームズ。もしかして知らないとか。
I swear to God, if they think we're the murderer again, I'm going to be mad. Ugh, my head is pounding. What's going on? The room seems strangely noisy. Huh? I can't move. Whoa, what is this? Aren't these handcuffs? So you're finally awake. Even after we violently dragged you out from that wardrobe. You still refuse to wake up. You've got some damn guts. Oh. Guess I got caught after all. That's right. Looks like you understand the situation, you damn criminal. It's happening again, why? All this time, no one suspected that scum like you could have been hiding in that tiny wardrobe. I'm sorry. At this point, it'd be best to just come clean and confess your sins. Unless you're ready to be cast out into the sea through that porthole. Alright, I'll tell you everything. Then please, answer one question for me. I recognize that voice. Oh. Why in heavens did you take his life? Susato? Is it Susato or Susato? I'm assuming that the inflection's on the second syllable for some reason. But hold on a second. What do you mean? What do you mean took his life? It's her name right here. Susato? Susato. I assume it's Susato. Susato. Susato? Whatever. I think Su, so it's Susato? Susato? Where is he? Where's Asogi? This is bait. He's not dead. Ha! There's a limit to how much you can feign ignorance. You murdered him with your own hand. Oh, come on. You can't fool us. He had a good theme song. You can't murder him. He's not dead. Huh? Kazuma. His corpse was just discovered a short time ago. What? He was found inside this cabin, with the latch shut on the inside. Asogi's corpse? Oh no. Don't start giving us stupid excuses like, I'm still drowsy so I forgot. Asogi is dead? That can't be. Then, these handcuffs are... I shall ask you once more. Why? Why did you take Kazuma's life? Please, answer me at once. Ah! So I'm guessing we were stowaway to Asogi's trip to Britain, and that's what we thought we were in trouble for. But all, you know, we're the murderer again, of course. Asogi. Half a month ago. Should we really be doing something this extreme? You're being smuggled into an international exchange student's cabin. Oh god. Quite the thrill, don't you think? When that Russian sailor brought your carry-on luggage here, I swear I was gonna die. He just threw me onto the floor with all the strength he had. Well, not me per se, but the trunk I was stuffed in. Nevertheless, it's surprising. I never expected that you would really fit into that trunk so snugly. You're so much more compact than you appear. Shut up. I seriously thought my spine was gonna snap. There are 50 days until we disembark on the shores of the Great British Empire. It'll be fine. You won't be found as long as you keep yourself in this cabin. The sailors will definitely rip my head off if they find me. That's true. All the Russian sailors here are incredibly brawny. That aside, why are we keeping this a secret from your legal assistant? Legal assistant Mikotoba, you mean? That girl's on your side, isn't she? The introduction wouldn't hurt. I highly doubt she'd rip my head off, at least. If she were to find out about you, then she would become an accomplice to us. It'd be better for this secret to be kept between the two of us. If you say so. Now then, it's almost time for our next sailor to take his cleaning patrol. It might be cramped, but go hide in there. Prepare to squeezing yourself into that trunk. This should be a breeze. Jeez. If that sailor randomly decides to open the door, it's all over, you know. Come on, it'll be fine. If you're so worried, why not write "Do not open" on that piece of paper over there? So that's what was what was on that paper. Okay. It was the opposite of what you thought. Huh? Unless it was changed. It might have been erased. Or modified. I'll paste it firmly on that wardrobe there for you. Ugh. Since then, it's been half a month. I would never have thought that something like this would happen en route to the Great British Empire. In any case, we'll drop you off at the next port. Until then, don't you dare try anything funny. You damned murderer! Murderer? Please, hold on a second. Didn't I tell you already? Confess your crime. That's not what I was referring to. It's true that I was smuggled onto the ship, but I could never kill someone. You're the only possible culprit. Just give up and accept your punishment. Tsusato. Please, hear me out. Let me tell you what happened. Very well. There's something I need to ask you about, as well. Tsusato's eyes are burning so fiercely. I get the feeling that I won't be waking up from this nightmare. Anyway, I should listen to what she has to say. So it's really true? He was murdered? And these handcuffs are because I've been accused. Accused under suspicion of murdering Asogi. When Kazuma was first discovered, this room was completely locked from the inside. Locked from the inside? It would have been impossible to enter the cabin. The door was latched from the inside. In other words, even if the culprit could have gained entry, it could not have escaped. What? It follows that the killer was inside the cabin. It's the only conclusion that makes sense. Would you like to raise any objections? How could this be? So how on earth did he die? You just committed the crime this morning, and yet you intend to feign innocence? Please tell me, I'm begging you. The cause of death is not yet clear. But they don't know exactly how he died? The ship's doctor is investigating, but he isn't adequately trained to perform autopsies. Specific details may have to wait until we reach the next port. That means that the body has no obviously fatal injuries, right? Yes, that's correct. What exactly happened here? Why was Asogi's life taken from him? I am sure that you know the answer to that. Huh? After all, you were here the entire time. You're right, of course, but... He would always be up before dawn, ready to greet the morning with his daily training. And I would always be waiting for him outside his cabin. However, the usual routine did not happen today. He never came out of his room. But by that time, Asogi was already... I tried knocking on the door, but there was no response. I was worried, but I decided to call for a sailor's help. The door's bolt was no match for the strength of several grown men. It broke open. And when we rushed into the cabin, we found Kazuma lying on the floor. Why would he be writing in Russian? I'm just mad that we're the killer again. His body must have been lying where that outline of tape is now. I was in the cabin, but still oblivious to everything that happened. I must have been asleep inside the wardrobe the whole time. Allow me to make my stance very clear. I don't believe that sounds plausible. You think I want to believe that's what happened? Alright, I've told you everything I know. Now, it's your turn to speak. Okay, I understand. Ugh, the back of my head is starting to throb again. Oh, please don't tell me that this is also another case where we got knocked out. To start with, why are you even on board the steamship in the first place? I'm certain I heard something about a stowaway earlier. Yes, well, that sounds about right. It's been half a month since we left Japan. I've been hiding in this cabin the entire time. I wasn't aware. So you sneaked behind Kazuma's back and hid yourself away inside his cabin? No! It'd be impossible for me to pull off something like that. Yes, I suppose you're right. Asogi was actually the one who asked me to come along. He wanted us to travel to the Great British Empire together. Kazuma asked you to do that? Can I ask what his reason was? That's something that even I'm not sure of. Even you aren't sure? Hey, Asogi, tell me why already. Why go this far just to take me along to the Great British Empire? Steam. I've been thinking about it for a while now, ever since the end of that trial. I know you heard me when I said to you then, you're meant to be an attorney. Yeah, I remember, but you weren't really being serious, were you? You've got the talent, I guarantee it. Well, I don't plan on becoming an attorney, whether you think I'd be any good at it or not. Well, that's something you have to decide for yourself. Okay, here's my hard read. Asogi's not dead, he set this up so we would invest... something like that, I don't know. Because I don't think he's dead. I strongly believe he's not dead. Otherwise, this would be like the first game where like your mentor dies immediately. Well, that's something you have to decide for yourself. London is in the vanguard of the modern world. It is a bustling metropolis of culture. There's no harm in seeing that world for yourself, is there? Of course not. That goes without saying. Truth be told, I also have a selfish reason for going through with this. If you were to become an attorney, someday, what? Never mind. It's nothing. Do you want to open a law firm together, or what? There was a certain subject that Kazuma often spoke about to me. I want to change Japan's judicial system, he would say. Perhaps he wanted to carry out that mission with you at his side. Yes, that might be possible. Yeah, that's what was explained earlier, I hope. Like, the whole plan was like, they didn't want the sailors to, the sailor that was cleaning to open the wardrobe. So, Asogi was gonna put, don't open. I'm very curious as to what his true motivations were. While we were talking about that, his eyes, they seemed dark, in a way that I'd never seen before. I'm really sorry that we didn't tell you about the stowaway situation. Well, this is Kazuma we're talking about, I'm sure. You go back to the VOD and check or something? I left him at the, fine. You didn't want me to have anything to do with it, instead of being an accessory to crime. You're absolutely right. Just as we both expect from Asogi. If you really aren't the culprit, then allow me to ask you a question. What happened in this cabin last night? Well, I don't really remember. Convenient. Last night, Asogi brought his meal to the cabin, as usual. And after that, I climbed into the wardrobe for the night, as usual. And then I assume you fell asleep? Yeah. So you mean to tell me that, while someone killed Kazuma, you were sound asleep? Yes, that's how I remember it. First case is all about, I believe in my memory, and now we have exactly nothing to remember in, except for maybe the arrangement of the cabin. I guess that may come into play later. Look, I know how suspicious it sounds, but I swear it's the truth. When I finally did wake up, I found myself in handcuffs. And on top of that, for some odd reason, my head has been throbbing. Huh? Something the matter? No. Everything is fine. Anyway, you have to believe me, I'm not the real culprit. Trust me, it's not as if I don't want to believe you. But I can't think of any other way that this crime could have been committed. Why, Asogi? Why did you have to die like this? I have to do something. Do not move a muscle. As the culprit, you are forbidden to leave the scene of your crime. I'm not going to accept that. Asogi was murdered, and I wasn't able to do a thing to help him. Do you honestly think that I could just sit around here doing nothing? Just what exactly do you intend to do? I'll investigate his death from the start to finish, as thoroughly as I can. I'll investigate who killed him. I'll investigate how and why they killed him. So please, excuse me. That's why our head hurts. What in the world? That was the Susato toss. Susato toss? Susato toss. I don't think I've heard of this move. In that case, prove it to me. Prove what? Hello. If you are truly innocent, then show me your evidence. Well, if you came late, just know we are accused of murdering our good boy Asogi. And we have now been tossed by Susato. Susato. But how can I do that? Have you already forgotten? Not long ago. You were acting as your own defense on trial. Oh, so that's it. I'll need to present some decisive evidence. I need to get Susato on my side. I'll need to show her evidence. What evidence will prove my innocence? The seal was still on the wardrobe, and there's no way I can actually put it back on the wardrobe while inside it. Like, that's actually not possible. Bam. When you discovered me earlier, did you find this stuck on that wardrobe over there, by any chance? Why, yes, I do recall something like that. You see, whenever I went to sleep, Asogi would always paste this on for me. It was meant to keep the sailors from opening the wardrobe. And, of course, last night was no different. Oh, now that you mention it, just before we found you, you pulled off that very seal that you speak of. If I was the criminal, in order to enact my crime, I would have torn off the seal as I exited the wardrobe. Indeed, it would be no other way. In other words, it would be impossible for me to be Asogi's murderer. That was easy. Even when you're down on your back, I can see why Kazuma thought so highly of you. Susato. Susato. It's really hard to put the inflection on the first syllable. If it's alright with you, would you kindly help me up then? Very well. In light of this new information, I will allow you to investigate the scene as you wish. Thank you very much. Have I cleared my name then? No. What? Not yet. It's still possible that you used some sort of strange sorcery to reattach that seal. That's right. We don't believe in proven innocent before guilty yet, because we're not that advanced. That's the moral of this game story. Susato, what kind of person do you think I am? First of all, let's thoroughly investigate the scene. I will accompany you. Got it. Let's do this, Susato. Please, do not misunderstand my intentions. As I said, my doubts are not yet entirely resolved. What? To make sure that you do nothing to vandalize the crime scene, I will be observing you closely. Do not dare to use any strange sorcery to get rid of any evidence you might find. I wish we knew any kind of sorcery, but this is not the bloodline that can do that kind of stuff. Alright. All sorcery aside, my first objective is to begin examining this cabin. Asogi, I hope you're watching. I will avenge you. Alright. Okay, stops from leaving. You can read some kanji if you want. Oh, here's the answer. Justice is written in bold, unfaltering strokes. It's very reminiscent of Asogi. These words, put to paper by none other than Kazuma himself. Are you able to look directly upon them without averting your eyes in shame? Yes, of course I am. After all, I'm innocent. In spite of the locked room? It always comes back to that, huh? Come to think of it. What is it, Susato? Oh god. Susato. Whenever I examine things, I feel that as though my vision begins to narrow. Uh-oh, that can't be a good sign. I'm sure you are already aware of this, but oh, thanks? You can use the left and right arrows buttons on the screen to look around. Let's make sure not to miss a single corner during our investigation. Our investigation? Yes, you're right. That's exactly what I've been doing. I think my vision just narrowed a bit. Alright, let's go to the table. No, that's not the table. I hit the examine button. That's fine. The SS Alclair ship regulations are posted here in this placard. Card. It's something akin to a list of requests from the captain to the passengers. Do not store any dangerous goods, such as weapons or animals, in the cabins. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What? Why are you staring at me like that? We're not calling me an animal. Don't call me an animal. Call it the sword, though. That's fine. Ah, no, it's nothing. I was just thinking, are you more of a weapon or... I said don't do this! Are you more of a weapon or an animal? It just happened to cross my mind for a second. Either way, you can still mark me off as a forbidden possession, I guess. That is Kazuma's katana. He always had it attached at his hip. Katana is the heart of the Japanese. That was one of Asogi's favorite sayings. I heard that he persuaded the government to allow him to bring his katana into Britain. This goes to show how important it was to him to keep it by his side. Asogi had the spirit of a proud warrior. I have to ensure that lives on. Those are the leftovers from last night's dinner, the roast chicken. Yes, it was quite delicious. Incidentally, did you happen to eat your meal on the floor? I'm not a pet dog, you know. I ate my chicken at the dining table like an actual human. Odd though, when did that chicken bone fall on the floor? Oh, but didn't Kazuma hate chicken? He seemed to remember as much. He despised it. In fact, he vehemently refused to even touch it last night. So despite being the hungry stowaway, I ate up every last bite of it. Oh, so that means Kazuma had likely been famished during his final night on Earth, just before he perished. How immensely pitiful. I suddenly have a stomachache. Stab after stab of sheer raw guilt. Can't investigate the table? Yeah, there's something out of the ordinary, whatever. Let's see. Well, this thing looks suspicious. What's this? It looks like a piece of broken glass. Some small glass object seems to have been broken in half. It's quite a beautiful color, don't you think? Was it from a Netsuke? Like those buttons that men used to hang from their kimonos? I think you're right. Did this belong to Asogi? Was he hiding such a lovely piece of art without our knowledge? Aside from that, there seems to be some dark brownish red marks on the floor here. Dark brownish red. That is an accurate description, but one problem remains. I don't see anything with that type of coloring that could have made these marks. Let's examine the shelf. These books have all fallen over. Not a single one is left standing. Is that a statuette of the guardian god of the sea? It's fallen on its side. It looks like everything on the shelf toppled over like a deck of cards. Do you think, by any chance, that Kazuma knocked over all these things over when he was practicing his swordsmanship? No way. I don't think he would do that. Well then. Did you lose your temper and knock everything down after you woke up? I wouldn't have left the wardrobe just to do something like that, you know. Something happened to knock all these items loose, but is it related to this case? Anyway, let me put things back the way they were. This is going to bother me otherwise. Don't tamper with the crime scene! Tamper with the crime scene! Did Asogi write that? Judging by the color, I think this message was written using ink. When he collapsed, he must have jostled the desk, causing the bottle of ink to fall. Then, he dipped his finger in the spilled ink and wrote out his last message. It must have been a terrible way to die. Oh, how heart-wrenching. Was Asogi trying to leave us a clue as he took his last breaths? I'm so sorry, Asogi. I just can't read this message. That's probably because these symbols are not written in Japanese. What in the world? What language are they then? I'm afraid that I have no clue myself. I've never seen letters like this before. Where are they from? What do they mean? That's quite a large trunk. It's more like a big box of memories for me now. Memories? I don't quite follow. To tell you the truth, we used the trunk to transport me aboard during embarkment. I thought I clicked on the ink too, but I think it's not clickable. Maybe at the ship screens. Ah, that explains this warning label. Do not turn it upside down. That would have been bad if they turned it upside down when we were inside of it. Yeah. Oh, so we were turned upside down. Yeah, I should have known better than to think that the sailors would be able to read that. And so, I was flipped over and thrown, tossed and flipped over again, so many times. Smuggling a person isn't an easy thing to do, is it? And yet, it's still thousands of times better than being against a Susato toss. Left. Oh, see, look, it's right on it, but it's don't examine. I guess it's not important. Check that. Kazuma must have spent last night reading and writing at this very desk. His London travel journal. Try to see if anything's suspicious looking. Letter? Left incomplete before he could even make it there. Apparently, the last sentence on the final page was left unfinished. Does this mean the incident occurred while he was in the middle of writing this entry? Let's read it. It might contain a clue. Oh, we're tossed. You mustn't do that! Ugh. Even if the owner is lost to us, you can't just read someone else's journal. It's improper. But for all we know, there might be something important written inside. Alright, fine. I won't read it. Kazuma. It's not if I actually want to go prying through Asogi's personal belongings. But I also know that we need to find as many clues as possible. For his sake. It's been half a month since we left Japan. And all this time, you've been crammed into that wardrobe? Can you refrain from saying the word crammed? Please pardon me. Let's say you enjoyed the voyage from the comfort of your own personal hiding space. Well, I had to stay hidden since we had no idea when sailors might enter the cabin. That's the reason I was crammed inside the wardrobe for most of the trip. Of course, I was stuck in there all through the night as well. So because of that, you didn't wake up during the murder? It hurts too much to think about it. Oh, I want to click on the bed. Which is not clickable. Chair? This? Vent's clickable. I believe that's an air duct. It's a sort of hole that keeps the air in the cabin circulating instead of getting stale. But this seems pretty mysterious. Mysterious in what way? This air duct. It obviously leads through the wall and into the cabin next door. Yes, you appear to be right. But if you want fresh air, wouldn't it be better to have the air duct connect to the outside? Yes, that makes sense. Maybe it's to avoid having rain blow into the ship if a raging storm approaches. Doesn't make sense either. Huh, maybe that's it. Who is that man? He wasn't here a moment ago. On the looks of it, he's clearly a European. Ah, over there. Yeah, You notice him too, Susata? Susato? That's suspicious. I mean, that tall gentleman. Now, this is a surprise. Naruhodo, could it be that you don't know who this gentleman is? No? I'm not acquainted with any foreign gentleman. He gives off a very strange aura. It's clearly different from all the sailors. I can't tell if he's inspecting Asogi's desk or just playing with it. Oh, come then. Let's see what he has to say. Am I imagining it? Or did Susato's eyes just light up? Oh, by the way, you may have already realized this, but when you touch a person with a cursor, you can talk with them. Thanks. Alright then, let's go talk with that that tall gentleman over there. Right. Oh, gotta examine. Go over there. Talk. Excuse me? Excuse me, could you spare a moment of your time? Quiet! I don't want to do his voice. Quiet! Quiet! I'm in the middle of something big! Maybe we should leave him be. I have a feeling this could turn into trouble fast. I suppose so, if that's what you think is best. Eek. Excuse me? Can I ask what you were doing with Asogi's desk just now? I see. So that's what's going on. Huh? What exactly do you mean? I feel like I'm being heavily scrutinized. It appears that I've uncovered the whole truth of the matter. My flawless reasoning whispers the truth of all things. Yes, that's it! You've returned here from Afghanistan, and quite recently, at that. Whoa. What? And on your way to a foreign country, you found yourself facing a predicament. Ah, well, he's not wrong about that. How in the world? How in the world did you just come to know all of that? Is that what you mean to ask? Please, this is but rudimentary reasoning. Nothing for me to bother explaining. Is there perhaps anything else you might know? Oh yes, but of course! Countless things, countless! Take, for example, your true identity is that of a Russian refugee, a most cruel and heartless revolutionary. You've killed 16 people so far, and you plan to go to Britain to blow up the Crystal Tower. However, in order to hide your identity, you murdered that man with the headband. Well, I suppose that just about sums it up. Come now, there's no reason to hide your crimes. You know it to be futile. This is sort of a long shot. But were you talking about me just now? Of course I was talking about you! Tell me, do you see any other Russians capable of assassinating 16 people? I'm definitely not capable of doing that either. I was right all along. The one who stole Kazuma's life was you, Naruhodo. And on top of that, you're a revolutionary as well. I was thinking of the British voice, but I don't think I could do that for like a very long time. I don't think I can do any British voice. How insolent! How shameless! Hey now, like I said, just getting tossed. The time is at hand. Now, what is your defense against these claims? I give up. Iron Man. Oh, my apologies. I didn't mean to disgrace you. No matter how you slice it, There's no way I could be a Russian revolutionary. I'm so sorry. And as for you, how could you carelessly fire off so many irresponsible, far-fetched theories? And yet, did I still not speak the truth? On your way to a foreign country, you found yourself facing a predicament. Well, that much is true, yes. See? How's that? What do you make of that? If you really want to know more of what I make of that, it's the fact that this ship is headed to Britain, and that I'm cuffed here at the crime scene. That's not really a theory. It goes without saying, as the phrase goes. And so it does. That is precisely the principle of reasoning. Try to say, it goes without saying aloud. It is unexpectedly and most mysteriously effective. Right. So then, who exactly are you? Ah, yes. I have delayed my introduction long enough. I am a man known around the globe, the world's greatest and most famous detective. Yes, for I am the famous Sherlock Holmes. A pleasure to meet you. Oh, I knew it! You're the real Holmes, in the flesh. But of course, I am the Sherlock Holmes, in the flesh. The guard's probably still there. Susato? Do you happen to know this man? Of course I do. Everyone in the world knows who the great detective is. All of a sudden, I feel like I've been cut off from the rest of the world. In any case, we should listen to what Mr. Holmes has to say. We'll be sure to find out the truth to this incident in no time with his help. I've got a really bad feeling about this. Oh god. So you're a great detective, and you said your name was... Precisely! A great detective indeed! I am the famous Sherlock Holmes! Alright, well then, the Sherlock Holmes. Ah, no. There's no need to say the each time. Mr. Holmes is more than adequate. If your interest in my escapades is piqued, then I would recommend you read this. The Strand magazine. This is a popular entertainment publication in Great Britain. Rest assured, Mr. Holmes, I have imported every issue from Great Britain without fail. It says the adventures of Sherlock Holmes right here. So basically, you're a character in this book? Precisely! You've hit the mark! So he's so engrossed in this book that he believes that he's the great detective. I can tell by your face that you misunderstand. I'm not as self-deluded as I might seem. The truth, in fact, is completely the opposite. Opposite? You see, this is a series of stories about my adventures, as written by my biographer. Right, your biographer. Indeed, presently, Dr. Watson is back in London looking after our flat. Dr. Watson? Thanks to the popularity of this book, the doctor has been incredibly busy as of late. As have I. I returned from Asia, where I solved the mystery surrounding a cursed royal crown. I can't tell if he's joking or serious, but either way, that sounds terrifying. To me, deduction is everything. Simply put, it is the art of pure logic. Pure logic? Art? A great observer of men does not allow even a single reaction to slip by unnoticed. A slight change in the line of sight or facial muscles, a person's very manner of conduct, their fingernails, their sleeves, their wrinkles in their clothes. All this is vital information. Ah, I see. A great observer can synthesize all that information together in a single instant. The logic he gleans from his conclusions will allow him to find the one and only truth. Indeed, you saw these very powers at work earlier. He's got some nerve to be able to say that while looking at me right in the eye. Yes, an extraordinary observer, a formidable logician, and the greatest detective alive. That is him, and he is me, Sherlock Holmes. Have you heard anything in regards to the incident? My, have I heard anything? Well, I only drew out the culprit lurking in this cabin and discovered what he was hiding. You do realize that you're speaking with the great detective Sherlock Holmes, right? I do, yes. Wait, then... He's the one to blame for this mess I'm in? This morning, after I realized that something was wrong in the cabin, I called for the sailors' help in opening the door. Yes, the sailors set themselves to their work, and the great detective bated his breath. That's right, it was I, Sherlock Holmes, who found you at the scene of the crime. And dare I say, those handcuffs compliment you quite nicely. Well, whatever else may have happened, two truths dawned on me at that moment in time. Two truths? Mr. Holmes, can you elaborate, please? What are the two truths you realized this morning while you were in the cabin? Let me be more precise. They are two truths that I pieced together in a single instant. Let's put it that way. I see. Naruhodo. Please, tell me more. Very well. The two truths I deduced from the state of the cabin. 1. The culprit could not have escaped, as it was a locked room incident. And 2. The victim was Russian, and he was killed after a falling out with his comrade. Please, hold on for a moment. Why Russian? Why, that's easy enough. The message left behind by the victim on the floor. Take a look. I didn't pronounce that. It means wardrobe in Russian. Kazuma wrote his dying message in Russian? In his final moments, his native tongue was the first to come to mind. Thus, he is Russian. Sogi is Russian now? Initially, I worked under the assumption that the culprit's name was Wardrobe. However, so that's what that means. Out of precaution, I opened the actual wardrobe in order to verify the situation for myself. And that was where Naruhodo was sleeping, right? Just so. Inside was a slumbering Russian, the true culprits. In other words, you. Jeez. Are there any other Russians I need to know about? You were wearing the same attire as the victim. Ergo, you were comrades. If memory serves, that is certainly the type of clothing that Russians are known to wear. But what? The student uniform has actually been Russian clothing all this time? I'm absolutely sure that the great detective's memory is dead wrong there. Ah yes, I took a photograph earlier to avoid any tampering with the words on the floor. This is a photograph taken of the victim's corpse before it was transported out of the room. By the time I opened my eyes, Sogi's body was already gone. This is my first time seeing him in this state with my own eyes. Are you alright, Naruhodo? Yes, I'll be fine. Oh, that's right. Mr. Holmes? Yes? What do you need? Speaking of Russia, didn't you say this earlier? That I'm a Russian and a refugee and a cruel revolutionary or something? Ah yes, that was the truth whispered by my logic. Could you maybe elaborate about that seemingly careless whisper? Of course, gladly. Like I said, I'm not Russian. About that earlier theory of yours. The one that's about me. On a journey to a foreign land with a predicament facing you. Is that the one? Yes, that's right. Please explain all the other parts of what you said too. The Russian refugee, the revolutionary, the assassination of the 16 people. Ah, that. Well, it's a simple theory, truthfully. Here is this morning's newspaper. The front page headlines reads as follows. Revolutionary Dmitry Demiglasky flees Russia, believed to be en route to Shanghai. This ship made port in Shanghai yesterday, and last night a Russian was killed. Since when did Asogi turn into a Russian? Kazuma may have been mistaken for a Russian due to the words he left on the floor. Therefore, in conclusion, the culprit of this crime must be the heartless revolutionary. Having had his own identity exposed in the paper, he murdered his fellow refugee. In summation, you are he, Mr. Dmitry Demiglasky himself. No. I mean, first of all, we don't really look remotely similar. Look at his face, then look at mine. Well, nonetheless, the fact remains that you are the terrible revolutionary. After all, isn't it likely that a revolutionary would have revolutionized his own face? That's your argument? By the way, your name isn't listed on the passenger list from embarkment either. Well, he's right about that part. I am a stowaway and all. So then, what about the killing of the 16 people and this Crystal Tower business? Alright, the fact is, all that information is contained within this front page article. Your true occupation and your nefarious deeds, my good fellow, I know them all. Dmitry Demiglasky himself was quoted saying all these things. There can be no doubt. The revolutionary willingly agreed to an interview for a newspaper? Wait, so what about the first thing you said? The part about returning from Afghanistan? That too is written here, clear as day. It states that you've just returned from a string of destructive acts in that country. Honestly? I've never even heard of this Afghanistan. Oh, how rude of me. Allow me to give you this newspaper as a sign of our acquaintance. What? Alright, thank you. I've already finished reading it, after all. And discarding it would be so troublesome. Oh, okay. He just doesn't want to trash it. Okay. He's stuffing his trash onto us. Come to think of it, the article on the back page was also rather fascinating. On the back? Feel free to read it if you wish. Who knows? You might just become a Russian connoisseur. But aren't we Russian, so why would we be Russian? What? A Russian newspaper, huh? Too bad I don't know how to read it. But since I already have it, I might as well take a look at that article on the back. Alright, let's take a look. On a spin 3D paper. Ooh. Who's this? Ballerina? Did you notice something, Naruhodo? No, I was just wondering what this article on the back page was about. Ah, it became more HD and less 3D. I haven't the slightest clue. I can't read a single letter. I can't read it either, but judging from the feeling I'm getting from this photo, it looks like it might be some sort of beautiful ballerina. Yes, she is quite beautiful. Is this perhaps the kind of woman that strikes your fancy? I'm not sure how to respond to that. You've quite the discerning eye for that article to catch your attention. Eek! If I may, allow me to explain what the article is about. But please do. He just popped out of nowhere. So like, if you like start reading the back, from like somewhere where he's not when he just appeared. I guess that would be what happened. This article is about a disappearance that occurred at some point last night. Beautiful flower of the prestigious Novovich Ballet Company goes missing. A lone girl was found missing during a ballet performance in Shanghai. It was a beautiful young ballerina named Nikomina Borshkevich. It's hard to remember the names of Russian people. It says that she disappeared from her dressing room, still wearing her costume, which apparently included a tiara set with gems valued at 20,000 rubles. How much money is 20,000 rubles? I wouldn't even begin to guess, but surely it's more money than we could possibly dream of. Susato's eyes are shining. Since the tiara is property of the ballet, the owner is on the brink of losing his mind. It's probably not worth that much. Well, can't say I blame him. In order to retrieve both Miss Nikomina and that tiara, the ballet company is requesting search warrants for all vessels that are heading towards Britain. Might it be that she's defecting as well? It's starting to seem like defection is Russia's specialty. Naruhodo, you shouldn't say things like that. Wait, I have two pieces of evidence for the same thing? Yep, sure do. Oh yeah. Ooh, magnifying glass. Check his face, very clean. By the way, you were expecting Asogi's desk earlier, weren't you? Asogi? Ah, right. The victim. Was there anything that stood out to you? Take a good look at the desktop. Oh god, this theme. The victim appears to have been writing something. This is his London travel journal, and that's his handwriting too. Oh, but I don't think it's respectful to read through someone's journal right after they pass. My. You should have spoken up before I read it. What? So you already went ahead and read through it? Of course! Despite my appearance, I can read basic Japanese quite well. Is that so? I think he's about to feel the wrath of a Susato toss. Well, aren't you gonna give the great detective a Susato toss for that? Goodness, whatever are you talking about? This is so unfair. All other matters aside, in regards to the victim's journal, the last sentence appears to suddenly stop halfway through. What could he have been in the middle of writing? Could you perhaps enlighten me? Huh? But didn't you just say you could read Japanese? Though I did, but like I said, only the basic symbols. For example, I could read the word harakiri. How's that? Impressive, isn't it? If you say so. But this writing is filled with kanji characters. I wasn't able to read a single one of them. His bragging didn't amount to much at all. Excuse me, may I? If you allow me to see it, I can read it for you. Ah, yes then. Please, by all means. So like, canonically, are we actually speaking in English? like in the original game, we would have to be speaking English, right? Because Sherlock Holmes is English and... Okay, I'm not gonna think about it too hard. There are two sentences written on the last page of the journal. They didn't learn English to go to England. They already knew English quite well according to the first trial. Or at least Naruhodo and Asogi. They already knew English. But that just means like are Susato and like Naruhodo speaking English to each other like normally? Because oh whatever. "1 hour and 23 minutes after midnight, I heard a sound like a low whistle." A whistle? Intriguing. Please continue. And the other sentence, 1 hour and 35 minutes after midnight, I saw a speckled band at the air duct. Oh, speckled band. Air duct. That connects to another room, not outside. A speckled band? I wonder what that means. I'm not sure. I've never heard of it before. At the air duct? Then I would suspect it must be none other than the air duct, which connects to the adjacent cabin. The adjacent cabin, huh? Now then, I must excuse myself. If I may ask, where might you be heading? To be frank, I am a bit curious about the victim's journal. I feel that it'd be worth investigating, and I'll get seasick if I just stand around. Could it be that you are intending to go to the adjacent room, the one connected to that air duct? Without a mystery, a great detective's existence is worthless and sorrowful. Rest assured, I grant you my word that the truth will become clear soon enough. Excuse me, would you mind if we joined you? That would be a tad difficult, you see. Huh? Why is that? Why are you even asking me? Just take a look at your hands. These handcuffs, huh? After all, you are the victim, you are the suspect of this murder at the moment, are you not? What do you mean by that? Please don't act like this doesn't concern you. You're the one who accused me in the first place. Oh? What are you talking about? I don't recall ever uttering a single word implying that you were the culprit. No. You did! It wasn't even that long ago. Now, aren't you a strange one? Just why would I say something like that? Oh god. But Mr. Holmes, I'm rather certain you did. Huh? Really? That's queer. You really don't have the look of a criminal, after all. Even though he was looking right in my eyes when he accused me. Well, I suppose it's fine. This is this, and that is that, as the saying goes. What do you mean? In other words, it's like this. The culprit should act like a culprit. Just roll over and give up. That was beyond cruel. Richard. Unbelievable. That great detective just ran off, laughing all the while. Come now, Naruhodo. What are you just standing around for? Huh? The two of us ought to check the cabin next door as well, with all due haste. But look at me. I'm not really in any condition to... Kazuma left his final lead for us, even as he lay dying. Meanwhile, you would rather roll over and give up? Everyone is so mean to me. In any case, there still seems like there are still things worth investigating in this room. Let's continue our investigation and wait for our chance to move to the adjacent room. Yes, let's. Even in this state, there must still be something I can do. For Asogi's sake, I need to do whatever it takes to forge a new path forward. You can talk to this guy. Excuse me, may I have a moment of your time? What do you want? I actually have one thing to ask, a favor that I have to request. Would you please allow me to investigate the outside of this cabin? I've heard that the Japanese don't tell jokes, but it looks like my sources were wrong. Huh? The criminal himself, telling me to let him escape? That's a real funny joke, friend. We're deep in the middle of the ocean. There's no possible way for me to escape. Regardless, you're not leaving this room until we reach port and hand you over to the local police. Do you understand? I understand. It looks like there's no point in asking the sailor for anything. Let's see. Do this. Oh, don't do that. Knife? Oh, part of the plate set. Right? Please click. Hit that. Do that. Light. Hit that. What's over here? Actually, I didn't check this, right? Yeah. I know what this is. It's an apparatus known as a call bell. It's an apparatus? Indeed. I've seen them in books about the culture of the Great British Empire. They're used in other countries. You pull the rope to ring the bell, then a serpent appears. When you say it like that, it just sounds like sorcery. Let's try ringing it. Yes, let's do it! As part of our research on Western culture, of course. I wonder if nobody came because we're Japanese? No, don't be silly. I'm sure everyone just has their hands full right now. Okay. Salmon. Wait. Oh, I don't want to do. Wish I had a D-pad. Actually, I didn't read. Oh, I didn't tell me to. Could examine the evidence that we already have too. Please. Oh, I didn't examine the sword, did I? I did. Oh, this knocked over lamp? No. Door. That's right, because this is a locked room because of the latch, so we should inspect the door. When we rushed here earlier, this door had been bolted tightly from the inside the cabin. It's just a small, simple bolt. But it'd be impossible to break either out or in, as long as it was latched in place. Given the evidence so far, I don't blame Susato for doubting me. I can feel Susato's glare burning into the back of my neck. Say, do you ever read mystery novels? This is the part where they use a needle and thread to bolt the door from the outside. An ingenious trick indeed. Yes, I do love reading mystery novels. But since all doors and general surroundings in the ship are made of iron, that trick wouldn't work here. Needles and threads can't cut through iron. Now her glare feels even more like needles digging into me. Huh? Look over there. It's that sailor. He wasn't there just a little while ago. That's exactly what I thought. If you have any questions, perhaps you should see what he has to say. He might shout at me again, but I guess I could give it a shot. Oh? What's the matter, Naruhodo? Nothing. It's just that sailor standing over there by the door. For some reason, I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Now that you mention it, he does look a bit familiar. Is this Asogi? I swear to God. Hello, excuse me. Yes, can I help you with something? Oh, it's Hosonaga. I definitely recognize that face. There's no doubt. Why, if it isn't Detective Hosonaga? It has been some time. But why are you here in a place like this? I could ask you the same question. I was so astonished that my heart stopped beating. Are you sure you didn't mean to say I thought my heart was going to stop beating? I've infiltrated the ship under special orders. Again? You really enjoy infiltrating, don't you? If it is within my power to do so, allow me to assist you in any way I can. The detective just might be the key to overturning this dire situation. So what are your special orders this time around? Moreover, why are you dressed like that? I am terribly sorry. Huh? All of the fault for this incident lies squarely upon my shoulders. What do you mean, Detective? My special orders were to guard Asogi. The arrangements were made by Secretary Jigoku of the Ministry of Justice. I was to protect him from possible assassins, so that he might reach Britannia unharmed. Assassins? He was in that much danger? I do not know for sure. What I do know is, what did you miss? I investigate the whole room over, and then we unlocked Hosonaga here. That's what you missed. We just started talking to Hosonaga. Apparently, there is much tension between the empires of the East and the West. The Secretary of the Ministry told me to take every possible contingency into account. How could this be? Is it really possible? Kazuma assassinated? Unlike most escort missions, I wasn't able to publicly divulge my identity as a bodyguard. Instead, I was forced aboard the ship under the guise of a sailor. It's a different. Oh, yeah, this guard's back, I guess. One in the back. I see. From dawn till dusk, I kept watch over Asogi until he retired to his cabin each night. And to think, during the few hours when I was not keeping my vigil, this happened. And so, through my own complacency, I allowed him to die. I failed in my duty. I'm no longer worthy of showing my face to either of you. I'm so sorry. Please don't leave. Detective Hosonaga. Might there be anything I could do to help make amends for this catastrophic failure? If so, please tell me how I could be of service. Right now, we're trying to investigate Asogi's death. I suspected as much. I assume that means you aren't actually the culprit then. Of course not! We'd like to move to the cabin next door and investigate things there as well. Are you able to grant me approval to leave this room? I cannot. My apologies. Huh? At present, you are considered to be a threat to the other passengers. If you were to attempt to leave this cabin for any reason, that rowdy sailor will lift you up by the scruff of your neck and toss you right back in. And all because they think I'm a stowaway who murdered one of my own countrymen. But there may be one chance. Have you anything persuasive I could use to help you move about freely? What would be persuasive, detective? If I had something that could provide a reason for you to investigate the other cabin, I would give my very life, if only to persuade the captain. But that seems a little... I can think of only one method that will work. Huh? What is it? Same method used on me earlier. You presented evidence to support the argument that you were trying to make. Presenting evidence. You should already be familiar with it from your time in the courtroom. Just highlight the item you want and touch the present button. It's as easy as that. Now, show Detective Hosonaga something that might persuade the captain. Something that will give us a reason to investigate the cabin next door. It's not like we want to barge in there for no reason. Something must support our logic. Just find the right evidence and touch present, like Susato said. Let's give it a try. Uh oh. I need to go back a menu, right? Yeah. With the journal. And this is... It's Asogi's journal. Before Kazuma passed away, he left behind some perplexing words. Perplexing? In what way? In this journal, he wrote, I saw a speckled band at the air duct. Speckled band? Perplexing words indeed. We still don't understand the meaning those words hold, but the curious thing is... Ah yes, the air duct, I presume? You live up to your title, detective. That air duct connects directly to the cabin next door. If we investigate that air duct, we might just be able to find what this speckled band is. I suppose that's proof enough. Huh? At the moment, I must stay here in this cabin until this ship reaches the next port. I must remain on watch at the crime scene. These are the captain's orders. Therefore, I have another option than to leave the investigation to the two of you. Really? While I cannot remove your handcuffs, you may move freely about the first class area. But are you sure it'll be alright? After all, the captain's orders were... Do not worry, I will keep my promise. I'll put my life on the line to persuade the captain. In the end, I owe Asogi that much. At least that much, after my failure to protect him. Thank you very much, detective. Shall we be off then, Naruhodo? If you touch the move button, we can leave! The move button, huh? Alright, let's go. Let's try it out. Finally, I'm out of that cabin. Still, I'm a little surprised. The corridor out here is narrower than you'd expect, don't you think? It is, isn't it? Kazuma was an exchange student sent out by the Japanese government. He was given one of the finest rooms aboard, a first-class cabin. If you're wondering, my third-class cabin is about half the size of Kazuma's. That's a pretty cool treatment you're getting there. Oh, take a look over there. There's an incredibly strong-looking sailor sitting on guard. That door connects to the second-class cabins. I would think that the sailor is on watch to prevent suspicious individuals from passing. Suspicious individuals? In other words, people like me. I cannot help but notice that, though we've been aboard for half a month, your eyes shine as though you're seeing all this for the first time. That's because I am, after all. I was a stowaway. I was packed up in Asogi's trunk during embarkment. Since then, I've been crammed into that wardrobe up until today. That must have been truly terrible, indeed. Don't look at me like that, please. I'm examining everything. Map? It's a diagram of the ship, the SS Alclair. 3-deck structure with so many cabins. One might call this a technological marvel. Actually, I've always wondered, how does such a gigantic hunk of steel manage to float in the ocean without sinking? It's actually rather simple, if you think about it. Huh? Well, think about the islands of Japan. What about them? Even a massive hunk of land, like an island, floats up without effort. So, if you're not surprised that the islands float, then why be surprised that the ships do? Oh! Okay, whatever, Susato. Oh, I see. That's a pretty good point. Huh? I can see an old, oversized ledger book and a pen on that desk over there. Apparently, it's some kind of logbook. Well, shall we take a look inside then? Wow, everything about this voyage is detailed in such beautiful writing. Yeah, I never thought these old sea dogs could actually write well. Uh-oh. I even complimented him, but he still refused to acknowledge it. I think maybe referring to him as an old sea dog wasn't the best choice of words. Oh, this is odd. It looks like the page for the last night is almost completely blank. In other words, the crew members noticed nothing out of the ordinary last night. Excuse me. May I have a moment?
Oh, look! It's a stowaway murderer!
Well, that was a nice way for him to crush my spirits right off the bat. If he won't talk to you, perhaps he'd be willing to speak to me. Good morning, sir. May I ask you a few questions?
Oh, look! It's the cheap servant girl that was stuffed in third class with other foreigners.
I see I'm a target for his abuse as well. Sounds like this sailor didn't wake up on the right side of the bunk today, huh?
Stop calling me sailor. I am senior crewman, Mitro Stroganov.
Even though he clearly hates us, I guess we should still try to speak with him. Mr. Stroganov, can you tell me more about the first class area?
This is where highest class of cabins are. Corridor connects to each of them.
Highest class? Could you tell us more?
Only certain people use rooms. Public figures, kings traveling in secret, rich people. Important people. So I am here as guard.
Kings? That's really impressive.
But stowaway hides in one of these cabins on my watch? If I could, I would throw you into the ocean right now and rest easy.
Please forgive me. If I may ask a question, is anyone currently staying in the cabin next to Kazuma Asogi's?
Da.
Susato? What was that just now? It sounded like da to me. It means yes in Russian. Or maybe it means no? So one of those two, I guess.
Could not let you visit other passengers' room just because you want to.
That means the cabin next door isn't empty. There must be a passenger inside. Interesting. So, can you tell us anything about the passenger who is staying in the cabin next to Asogi's?
Name is Grimsby Roylott. He is an upstanding old gentleman from the West.
Gentleman from the West, huh?
Do not bother him with pesky questions. He is knowing nothing about the student's murder.
How are you able to assert that so confidently?
Mr. Grimsby Roylott is a respectable Western man. Why would he care about lowly Asian children?
Harsh words. By the way, when did Mr. Roylott board the ship?
You are not needing that information.
Now that I'm thinking about it, from the very start of the voyage, right up until this conversation, I've never seen or heard so much as a single hint of that cabin being occupied. If the gentleman you speak of is staying in a first-class cabin, that would mean he must be a very important person indeed. Is that correct?
You are not needing that information.
Very good Russian accent. Mr. Stroganoff, have you been on watch here for the entire voyage so far?
Yes, I am keeping suspicious people like you from running around ship.
Excuse me, but do you know anything about the incident last night?
It is very sad what happened to a student.
Going by what you just said, you must have been standing guard here last night too, right?
Of course.
Then, during that time, did you see anything out of the ordinary?
Yeah.
Niet. Susato? From the sound of it, I think you said Niet. See, I was right. I know yes and no in Russian apparently.
Everything was normal last night. Nothing unusual.
What about any odd noises? Or anyone who would look suspicious?
No. Everything was normal.
Sorry. I wonder though. Was it just me, or did Mr. Stroganoff glance away for a second there?
It's time to end this little chat.
Huh?
I must make routine report to the captain. You should return to cabin as well.
Alright.
Door to the second class cabins is firmly locked and secured. Do not bother trying to escape. It is not possible.
I understand. Now, let's investigate to our heart's content. Absolutely! Thus begins Phoenix Wright's bloodline of going places where we shouldn't be. I want to investigate the thing on the ground. If I can click on it. Oh. Yeah, I know there's nothing here. Yep. Okay. Oh. You can't see it, but I'm touching the middle of the screen with my mouse to drag the cursor that's not at the middle of the screen. This is a trap that's used to capture rodents. Oh, hey, I've seen this in Japan too. This one looks like it uses bait and a sticky substance I've never seen before though. Let's see. Bait is a food called cheese, a Western staple made from fermented milk. Cheese? I wonder what it tastes like. I see that curious look. Don't try to eat it, or you'll only get your fingers pinched. Oh, guess I should just give up. Were you actually planning to eat it? Well, yeah. All I ever got to eat was Asogi's leftovers, after all. I was always jammed in that wardrobe with an empty stomach. I'll give you some snacks I brought later on. Aww. So nice. Okay, yeah, just drag the cursor. There you go. What is this? It's nice and round, and it kind of adds a cute touch to the hallway. It's an emergency alarm. Please, don't touch it. Emergency alarm? Look right here. There's a notice. Please press button only in case of emergency. Button sends an alarm to the entire ship, signaling the engine to temporarily stop. Makes the engine stop? Maybe. What are you doing? Get away from that! What? How is what's happening to me right now not an emergency? Oh my god. That clearly isn't the kind of emergency they mean. If you push that button and cause panic,
we'd have a real emergency on our hands. I wish I could just stop everything happening to me right now. Please don't inconvenience an entire ship of people just because you're upset. Alright. Here it is. This is the cabin adjacent to Sogi's. One with the connecting air duct. And that air duct was where Kazuma saw the speckled band, apparently. We still might be able to solve that mystery. Let's try to talk to whoever's inside. They didn't answer. I don't think we're going to be able to ask any questions about the room right now. Yeah, this is inconvenient. What was that voice just now? It came from inside the cabin. That could only be the tearful, innocent scream of a maiden in distress. Out of the way, you lot! I shall kick down that door post-haste. Mr. Holmes. Right now, I am absolutely brimming with intense desire to kick down this door. But please, stay your leg for just a moment. This door appears to be unlocked. Seriously? Well then, where exactly am I supposed to vent this urge to kick something? Oh no, please don't kick us. Don't kick us! Oh, that aside, let's go inside. This is an emergency, there's no time to waste. Oh, that's not good. Oh, what do you want from me? That Western gentleman appears to be Russian. Excuse me, we just heard what sounded like a young woman's scream coming from this room. Scream? Stop your silly talk. As you can see, I am the only one in this cabin. No one else. He's right. The old guy is the only person in here. But what on earth was that scream then? Leave now. All of you. Now! Pardon me. Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I presume. Yes, I am Roylott. Who are you? Sherlock Holmes, the one and only. Surely my reputation precedes me. Never heard of him. I am the great detective. My name adorns magazine covers all across the British Empire. And so, I am certainly no manner of suspicious individual, as you can see. He's using that magazine like some kind of business card. Detective. Even more suspicious. We are certain that we heard a scream originating from this very room. It is readily apparent that no one is hidden within your wardrobe. Therefore, if it's not too much of a bother, I open that small trunk over there. Isn't the bag, like, the camera pointed at the bag to make you think about the bag? Stop this silliness! This trunk is very, very small. You think there is a person inside? Well, if recent trends indicate anything, packing people into luggage is quite popular. Please stop looking at me. It better be a dog. Ah, did you see that, Naruhodo? Yes, I think I did. The truck moved, didn't it? All of you, leave, now. If you do not, I call the sailors. Grimsby Roylott. He's staying in the cabin directly next to Asogi's. This Russian man has to be hiding something. Yes, my thoughts exactly. We must find some sort of lead before that sailor returns. Excuse me, Mr. Roylott. Could we have a moment of your time? I am not accepting visitors. I talk to no one. Now leave! I'm off to a great start. We're not going to get anywhere like this. That's for sure. How are we going to deal with this man? I wonder if the great detective would know what to do. Why? Why do you do this? Why do you do this? Excuse me, Mr. Sherlock Holmes? Ah, please. Just Mr. Holmes is fine. That's not any less formal. Mr. Holmes? What are you doing in there anyway? Oh, not much. Just making myself at home. At home? I'm just passing the time. Imagining how it must have felt to be crammed in here. Waiting for the moment when two of you beseech the aid of a great detective. Oh, God. What? Well now, it would seem that the time has finally come. Am I mistaken? Well, he's certainly not wrong. Now, look over there. That Russian gentleman, Mr. Roylott, is clearly hiding something. And what would be the best countermeasure against a Russian who's hiding something? Oh. The answer, of course, would be the truth. Huh? Indeed. That doesn't apply to Russians alone. Right. But I wonder what that Russian man would do if his hidden secret were to be exposed. Wouldn't it be interesting to find out? I would love to, Mr. Holmes. Then allow me to show you something intriguing. Something only a great detective can do. A great detective's great deduction. As you can clearly see, here we have a classic suspicious looking Russian. What? Sometimes I wonder to myself, are suspicious people inherently Russian? Or are Russian people inherently suspicious? That's a little racist, Mr. Holmes. I don't think either one is the case. And if I may add, Mr. Holmes, no matter how much the beard and the dark glasses might seem to suggest it, I'm not sure the grounds enough to be outright label someone as suspicious. Shh! Quiet now. Why do you look at me like this? I see. Yes, I understand now. What? At last, the truth becomes clear to me. There's no room for doubt. Now then, Mr. Roylott, I have arrived at two conclusions. Oh, man. Well, what do you mean? First, conclusion number one. Your true identity. Simply put, you are a villain. You were just about to cut short something very important to you using those scissors. Am I mistaken? Ah. On to conclusion number two. At this very moment, you have been caught red-handed in the midst of a nefarious deed. By now you must be shaking under that beard, panicking over if you've already been found out. Am I mistaken? Here comes Naruhodo, one of Mr. Holmes' great deductions. Great deductions? Mr. Holmes has a truly incredible talent. With only one look at a person, he can learn almost everything about them. How in the world? No way. That's impossible. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. I've read that book countless times. I can't believe I'm about to hear one of his great deductions firsthand. Oh, truly, it's like a dream come true. can't believe it. Mr. Roylott just turned white as a sheet. Somehow, it looks like those two conclusions hit the mark. How? How could you possibly know that? Is that what you were about to say? Very well. It's time for all to be revealed. How indeed did this great detective before you arrive at these two conclusions? Come along now. Shall we embark together upon a journey of deduction? What I mean to say is that I'm asking you to tag along with my reasoning. New game mechanic. Behold, Mr. Roylott, the mysterious Russian. First, let your eyes be drawn towards this. This oversized pair of scissors sticking out like a sore thumb. Now, just what in the devil were you planning to do with those? Just a little observation, the answer becomes obvious. You intended to cut off your splendid beard with those scissors. Continuing on. Now then, why would you have such an urgent need to cut that magnificent beard? That too is quite obvious, and I have evidence to back it up. Have a look at this morning's newspaper. It contains a rather intriguing article. Hold on, we have that. Did he get an extra copy, or did he just take ours? In fact, it appears that you too have seen the article which I speak. Surely you must understand by now. The article inside reveals your true identity. The newspaper's revolutionary article. Revolutionary Dmitry Demiglaski flees Russia, believed to be en route to Shanghai. As you can see, the picture clearly depicts that eye-catching beard of yours. Having seen the article, you plan to cut off your beard before the crew found you out. However, since you have yet to do so, your true identity remains clear. You are none other than the frightful revolutionary, Dmitry Demiglaski. Though, with that said, I can't say I've ever heard of you. A crime. Next, we have my second deduction. It seems to me that we have caught you in the act of committing a terrible crime. Now, as for the proof of that crime, aha! It's right over there, is it not? As I expected, it appears you have shown your hand, Mr. Roylott. When people are taken by surprise, they tend to reflexively shift their gaze. It is a classic tell, more eloquent and powerful than mere words could ever convey. Yes, our answer lies directly in your line of sight, so carelessly directed. The proof of your crime, elementary, it's that trunk. I think it's about time that you opened this trunk and showed us what's inside. No, I am refusing. Exactly what do you have hiding in there? From what I can see, were you to apply simply enough force, I think you'd be able to fit a small girl inside. Moving on. That is silly. A young girl stuffed into a trunk. Just who might she be? Ah, good grief. You're not much of a criminal, are you? Your line of sight betrayed your secret so easily. Just now, without a second thought, you took a glance at our answer. The reason why you can't open that trunk can again be found in the newspaper. In truth, it seems that there is yet another intriguing article published in these pages. Rather than looking at the article about the revolutionary, flip to the reverse page. Beautiful flower of the prestigious Novovich Ballet Company goes missing. There is only one logical conclusion. The crime you are in the very midst of committing is abduction. According to the article, the girl's name is Nikomina Borshkevich or something. Like, he's so close, yet so far. And there you have it. The great deductions of Sherlock Holmes have been revealed. Susato? Is this really a great deduction? I think so. I read all about them in his book. So, his great deductions just now were just a little different than usual. Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Holmes. Could you come over here for a moment? Ah, what can I do for you? I wanted to ask about your reasoning there. Yes, by all means, what's on your mind? Well, let me start with this newspaper. I didn't think I had to repeat myself, but here we are. These two men's faces are nothing alike. They look completely different. I didn't expect to repeat myself either, but here we are indeed. We're dealing with a revolutionary. Who's to say he didn't revolutionize his own face? At the very least, I suppose he looks more like the picture than you do, Naruhodo. That's not the point! And besides that, there's something else. That bit about the abduction. Ah yes, truly a shocking turn of events, isn't it? At first glance, I wouldn't think that a girl could fit inside that trunk. Actually, it's worse than that. It's clearly way too small to fit a person inside at all. You'd barely be able to close it, even if you stuffed so much as a 5-year-old inside. In that case, could the missing ballerina be a 5-year-old? Oh, didn't you know? She's actually 15. No, Mr. Holmes, I had no idea. So if she's 15, roughly 10 years of her ought to be sticking out of that trunk. That's not how it works either! There's something I once heard somewhere a long time ago. In order to make their bodies more limber, some ballerinas would drink vinegar every day. Vinegar? Really? Indeed, with a body ripened by vinegar, fitting into a box like that should be no trouble at all. I think you're mixing up acrobats and ballet dancers. Ugh, this is such a mess. Naruhodo, about Mr. Holmes' reasoning just now. I think his observations are right on the mark. Right on the mark on at least the foundations of what happened. It's just that the focal points and logic are just a little bit off. A little bit? Completely off, I'd say. If we take the most important keywords from his reasoning and just discreetly replace a few of them here and there, we might just be able to figure this out. So take the keywords from his deductions and replace them? Yes. Discreetly, mind you. If we can do that, then surely Mr. Holmes' great deductions will truly come to light. Indubitably. That's exactly what I was thinking. Wow, this great detective is a real piece of work. Well, it seems you've got your work cut out for you, thanks to me. You sure are laughing loud enough about it. Oh, and as for you, I almost forgot. Me? What is it? Take a look at your hands. My hands? Is this legal? This is not legal! Ah! The handcuffs are gone! What? This is... How did... I thought those cuffs might get in the way of deductions, so I got them off in a jiffy. Huh? Amazing. I'd expect no less from the great detective Sherlock Holmes. And there's no need to be worried. I'll just put them back on once we're finished here. No, that's okay. You can leave them off. Now, why don't we give this another go? Come, one and for all, to Sherlock Holmes' Theater of Logic and Reason. Now it's mine. Hold it, Mr. Holmes. Let's see. I want to reread this. I'm just going to reread like the line we want to actually do. That's normal, right? It's an observation. Are those the kind of scissors you'd cut a beard with? I don't have any intentions of ever growing a beard like that, so I don't really know. I think Mr. Roylott isn't so sure himself. In other words, this part of the deduction seems a little off. In that case, Naruhodo, let's try replacing it with something else. Sounds good to me, but how should we go about doing that? First, let's stop and take a look at Mr. Roylott himself. Was it really the beard that he wanted to cut off? There you go, that's a good question. Next, look for the answer. When you find it. When I find it? Then, the rest is in your hands. What exactly is she telling me to do? Okay, I'll give it a try. Time to replace this logic. What was Mr. Roylott really going to cut off with those scissors? Thick hat. Splendid beard. Oh! 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 I can examine before representing. What? Sue's have to look at this. Oh my! What beautiful golden hair! No, I'm not talking about its beauty. Why is hair even growing here in the first place? Not only that, but it's coming out from underneath a bunch of thick black fur. It's very strange, and yet it's also curiously beautiful. Something is clearly wrong here. Hi! Oof. Blast shatter effect. Oh, he looks so cool! You intended to cut off your pretty hair with those scissors. He looks so cool! Indubitably, that's what I meant to say. Such beautiful golden locks couldn't possibly belong to an old man. You're actually a woman, aren't you? Judging by your hair sheen, you're clearly a young girl at that. No. If only I had a chance to cut my hair, then I would not be found out. Let's see. That is insane. So waiting for the next part. It's not this one, it's the other one. Wow, I sure wasn't expecting that. I can't believe that old man was actually a little girl this entire time. Well, what is it? Why are you staring at me? Well, it was definitely shocking. But what's even more surprising to me is how much you seem to enjoy this kind of thing. Huh? Despite your situation, you still ended up jumping around in glee. And just who was jumping around in glee? Not me. It was just that I only... Fine. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, look at this. Think back to Mr. Holmes' logic earlier. That evidence he brought up seems to be a little strange now, doesn't it? That evidence he brought up seems a little strange now, doesn't it? Yeah. It does. If Mr. Roylott is really a woman, then that means the article about the revolutionary isn't related to the case anymore. And because of that, the flow of logic has changed course entirely. What does that mean for us? We should replace this evidence that matches the flow of logic. For some reason, that girl needed to hide her true identity. And I feel like I heard something about a young girl not too long ago. Understood. Alright, I'll give it a shot. I think I couldn't say anything. Ryunosuke is wearing like fingerless gloves, kind of. Where's part of it too? This article reveals your true identity. Yeah, it's kind of like, I guess not really gloves, but we saw in the first case. Hi, corn syrup. It's pretty fun. Right now we're trying out a new game mechanic. Indubitably, without a doubt, that must be it. Beautiful flower of the prestigious Novovich Ballet Company goes missing. I do believe that we are finally able to call you by your real name. Well, there are two ways you can play this game in English. If you own a 3DS and you're willing to soft mod it, you can buy the Japanese cart and then play the English translation through that. If you don't want to do that, or if you don't have a 3DS, you can, and if you have an Android phone that is new enough that can play it, you can buy it off the Japanese Play Store, which requires you to buy a Japanese Play Store card. So that's like the tricky part. But what I'm playing from is from my phone. So this is from the Japanese Play Store. If you want more, if you want the cipher, it's scarletstudy.gq. If you don't have either, yeah, it's gonna be tough for you to play, because those are the only two ways you can play the English translation. I mean, this game is only out on 3DS, Android. I don't know if it's out on iOS, but the patch is not out on iOS because iPhones aren't an open platform, so you can't mod it as easily. Your true identity is the ballerina from the Novovich Ballet Company. Nikomina Borshkevich. Eek. That looks painful. It is as you say. My real name is Nikomina Borshkevich. Now, this game is very, very Japanese, and honestly, Capcom. It feels like Capcom doesn't really want to put that much into Ace Attorney series. Like, it may not sell that well for them, I guess, is what I think. Please, tell no one. We solved it. So her crime is actually stowing away. Next, we have my second deduction. It seems to me that we have caught you in the act of committing a terrible crime. Now, as for the proof of that crime, aha, it's right over there, is it not? Oh! Okay, I see. As I expected, It appears that you have shown your hand, Miss Nikomina. When people are taken by surprise, they tend to reflexively shift their gaze. Remember what the rules were for the ship? Let's think about the rules for the ship. Actually, I'm sure you were there. I read the rules of the ship that the captains gave to each passenger. What are the rules? What can you not bring? It is a classic tale, more eloquent and powerful than mere words could ever convey. Yes, our answer lies directly in your line of sight, so carelessly directed. The proof of your crime. Actually, I wasn't going to read these again, but I got into it. That girl's actually the ballerina. And there's obviously no way she's packed up in that trunk right now. So there is a stowaway, but what can you fit in a trunk that size? There's also not the rules. The rules didn't say person. Anyway, keep it to yourselves, keep it to yourselves. Right, in fact, the idea was that she was adopted at all now is disputable. Then, what exactly is this girl's actual crime? Looks like I have no choice. I'll have to take the stage again. Naruhodo, you're certainly enjoying all of this, aren't you? Jumping around the room and joining Mr. Holmes and his theatrics must be so thrilling. Please stop teasing me. Anyway, some of the other evidence that reveals her true crime must be there somewhere. Oh, okay, I can click. Drag tiara. This is a glittering tiara. I've never seen them in person, but these must be diamonds. Naruhodo, you should try it on. Huh? Why me? You're the girl here. Why don't you try it on instead? Oh no, I couldn't. It's far too majestic for someone like me. Come to think of it, this gem-encrusted tiara seems familiar. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. And recently at that. Example trunk. It's a small trunk. No matter how you look at it, it's too small for a person to sit inside. Then I suppose there must have been something else in Nikumina's line of sight. Still, I can't help but wonder, you know. Wonder about what? What if there's something weird inside? After all, why else would she refuse to let us open up the trunk? There must be some sort of reason. Okay, maybe I was wrong about my reason. So I assume there's like a dog inside. And like the rule was you couldn't bring animals or weapons. But I feel like the game is pushing me towards presenting this.
Hi!
Proof of your crime. It's elementary. It's that tiara. Yeah, the suitcase moves, so that's why I thought it was a dog. But that's not the crime that they're talking about right now. This must be the tiara used on stage by the Novovich Ballet Company, right? It bears a striking resemblance to the ones you can see in this news article. According to the article, this tiara is valued at 20,000 rubles. In other words, that would make the nature of your crime grand larceny. Ugh. You pilfered that tiara from the ballet school you were a member of, didn't you? Eek. Eek. No. I don't know how to do like Russian girl voice. We'll work on it. I am all alone. No allies, no friends. I am needing money to survive. But I did not steal Tiara. That is not true. A Prussian Earl gave it to me. It belongs to me now. 15-year-old girl, seeking asylum all her own. I can't imagine how scared and alone she must feel. Are you happy? I have told you everything. No, not yet. Huh? There's still another mystery left to unravel. I do not understand. You have obstinately refused my request to have that trunk opened and examined. Surely you must have some sort of important reason to do so. Is that not the case, Miss Nikomina? I must keep secret from this man, you think to yourself, but it is futile. I've already found a way to infer the contents of the trunk, you see. Ah, good grief. You're not much of a criminal, are you? Your line of sight betrayed your secret so easily. Yes, the answer lies directly in your line of sight, so carelessly directed. The reason you can't allow us to open the trunk is written in the books on the shelf. Close? Mr. Holmes' deduction has totally changed from what he was saying before. I assume he must have changed directions to take our new deductions into account. Even so, he just blurted out that it must be the books on the cabin shelf. That's nothing more than a random guess. It's painfully obvious. I wonder if that's really the case. I mean, no matter what her reason is for refusing our access to the trunk, how could it be written possibly anywhere in those books? It's too convenient. You may be right, but Nikomina did unmistakably steal a glance in that general direction. So you're saying that the reason she refuses to open the trunk lies somewhere within her line of sight this time, too? Right. We just need to make the same assumption this time around. Why won't she open that trunk? The answer to that question has to lie somewhere in her line of sight. Okay, remember the rules? We'll read the rules again. The SS Alclair's boarding regulations are written here. Do not store any dangerous things, such as weapons or animals, in the cabins. The same message was posted in our cabin. What do you think would happen to us if we broke these rules? Why, I'm sure it would be something quite terrible, such as being thrown overboard into the freezing cold ocean. Or perhaps we might be confined in some terribly narrow wardrobe. It's beginning to sound like I've been taking this punishment for quite a while. Oh. Let's see what else you could point at.
Hi!
The reason you can't allow us to open the trunk is written on the notice. Do not store any dangerous things, such as weapons or animals, in the cabins. You probably could, but I didn't want to. Something inside that trunk is prohibited on this ship. Because of this, you cannot risk opening the trunk and allowing us to examine its contents. Ah. Earlier, we noticed that the trunk moved on its own. If you had a weapon hidden in there, that wouldn't explain the trunk's movement. And so, only one possibility remains, Miss Nikomina. Inside that trunk, you're harboring the other thing that can't be kept in the cabins, an animal. Eek! Why would it be panda? How would it be panda? So you're actually Grimsby Roylott is not my real name. It is Nikomina Borskovich, just as you say. You disappeared from the ballet school mid-performance in order to flee Russia. And last night, you stealthily made your way aboard this ship. Stealthily? The SS Alclair is a colossal steamship. Is it even possible to board this ship without anyone noticing? You hastily disguise yourself as an old man in hopes of hiding your true identity. And you decide to chop off that long blonde hair of yours, along with the rest of your past. However, a woman's hair is her crowning glory. It is precious enough to be considered her life. If it were me, I would refuse to cut it off and struggle to find another way. But if that's the case, then what was that distressed cry we all heard coming from this cabin? Why, the distressed yet beautiful bell-like peal of this lovely lady's cries. Naturally. That was one loud bell then. I escaped from Shanghai in fear. I know they searched for me. I put on disguise so no one can find me. And you ended up taking on the role of a fairly suspicious old man, I see. After I put on beard and hat, I saw a newspaper. Inside was my picture. I was so scared. I shouted without thinking. If I did not do more to change appearance, they will find me. I know that I need to cut off hair, so I grabbed scissors. And it was precisely at that moment that we entered the cabin. I suppose circumstances like these really do happen once in a while. Indubitably, such is the current situation. This is all a lot more confusing than it needed to be. Excuse me, Nikomina, but there is one last thing I would like to ask. Just what is it that you've been hiding in that trunk? Inside, my precious friend hides. Please, please keep secret from captain, sailors, everyone. Well, I suppose that's fine. However, only if you speak with us of the events that transpired last night. Understood? Yes, I am talking. That's blackmail. That's blackmail, huh? So what do you think, Naruhodo? We were able to witness the great deductions of the Sherlock Holmes firsthand. To be perfectly honest, I think that I'm still a little confused over which part of this is the great deduction. At any rate, we can at least hear what Nikomina has to say now. That's amazing. That's right. It certainly is quite amazing. That's right. I almost forgot about you. Yes? What is it? Take a look at your hands again. My hands? Oh no. So, he took off the handcuffs so we could snap and point during the deduction and then put them back on. Ah, the handcuffs. They're back on again. What? This... How? As promised, I put them right back on where they belonged in a jiffy. Ugh. When did he even do that? The suspicions cast upon you have not yet been considered cleared after all. We don't have much choice in the matter. I hope you understand. I suppose. Do we really not? At any rate, We ought to listen to what Nikomina has to say. Personally speaking, I am curious about this mysterious speckled band that Kazuma witnessed. So I take it you're aware that a murder occurred in the cabin next door. Yes, sailors tell me during breakfast. The one who died was our friend. That is true? That's why we're trying to gather information right now, for his sake. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Something that sounded like a conversation or anything? Or the sound of a ship overtaken by a raging storm, or a huge explosion from the engine? She did not. Just, it was her friend. That's inside the trunk. I think everyone would have noticed something like that. Anyway, did you hear anything, Nikomina? I am knowing nothing. I was not thinking of anything but me. I am knowing nothing at all. I see. So you ran away from the Novovich Ballet Company, is that right? Yes. I go to Great British Empire. From there, I board ferry to America. I am done with ballet. I want to start new life. You say you're done with ballet, but you still decide to bring on along that tiara along? Tiara is mine. I need tiara to live. I make no money from ballet group. I get only food and water. From country to country, only dance all day. I had to run, to protect self. And so you chose to seek asylum, right? Sailors on this ship are my friends. They let me on board, gave me empty cabin. But if that's the case, there's still one thing that doesn't quite fit. Yes, I see it too, Mr. Holmes. What do you think, Naruhodo? Oh, yes, of course. We should ask Nikomina about that. I have no idea what they're talking about. Might I inquire one thing? According to this article, you only just disappeared yesterday. Oh. So that means the only time you could have boarded the ship was last night. However, the SS Eau Claire did not weigh anchor at harbor last night. Ah, now that you mention it. So, how in the world did you manage to board the ship? Come to think of it, the sailor in the hallway was behaving a little strangely, wasn't he? It was after we asked him when Mr. Roylott had boarded. You are not needing that information. That's what he said, if I remember right. Gracefully descending onto the stage, like a snow-white angel. What was that all about? It was about me. It was written in theater review in Russian newspaper. I am gracefully descending onto ship too. I am Angel after all. That's quite the groundbreaking claim you're making, considering your limited English. I wonder if all Westerners are as boldly spoken as Mr. Holmes and young Nikomina here. Like a god amongst men, he gracefully takes in the knowledge of the world. They have written such things about me as well. But that's in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, a serialized, exaggerated novel. At any rate, she doesn't look like she has any intention of telling us the truth of how she got on board. So Nikumina's friend is in the trunk? But this ship forbids animals from being brought aboard. Please, keep secret. Do not tell anyone on ship. If they find out, then those brawny Russian sailors will grab that trunk and throw it into the sea. Eek. You're so mean, Mr. Holmes. Oh, his friend. Is it a puppy, perhaps? Not? Aww. Or maybe an adorable little rabbit? Ha! You think Russia has adorable little rabbits bouncing around the tundra? Huh? You mean they don't? I'm assuming not. But how should I know? Right. Neither of you are even close to the mark. By friend, she must mean... I've got it. Without a shadow of a doubt, it must be a chicken. Chicken? Well, just think about it. It wakes you up in the morning with its loud crow and lays its eggs every day. And if push comes to shove, you can just roast it up and have a nice little meal, right? Something tells me you're not exactly treating that chicken as a friend. Well, after all said and done, the fact remains that the identity of her friend is still unknown. I knew it. She's still wary of us. Still, I feel like there's something I should be showing Nikomina. Nice hint name. I'm still not exactly sure what though. What do I present? Like investigate. Let's investigate. This bag is so suspicious to me. You cannot investigate it. I'm mad. This is... Do not touch. I will talk about last night, but touching a lady's things for no reason. You are a terrible man. Please forgive me. She's absolutely right. You should be ashamed of yourself. Looking around her lady's room like that. You are a terrible man. He's starting to get on my nerves. Oh, that was Artie's room. What's on this side? Drag cursor around. Trash can. Plate. But these are like not required. I'm sure if I click on them, they'll tell me stuff. Like, let's see. Oh, it's because don't touch her stuff. Alright, you want the badge? Here's the badge. There you go. Would you like to take a look at this? This shows people my identity as a university student of the Empire of Japan. I am not caring. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Naruhodo. Show off that badge as much as you like, but maybe only to other Japanese people. Dusato, would you like to take a look at this? I'll look at it later. I wonder if I should show it to Detective Hosonaga too. Oh, could just present everything. Actually, let's present the Russian. Nope, she don't want to read this. This probably gets a reaction out of her. I'm curious if this would too. Probably not. But Nikomina, here's that newspaper article. You look beautiful in this picture, almost like a fairy. Seeing self in article is scary. Nikomina. 15-year-old girl, alone in exile. I'm sure none of this is easy for her. Right. Nikomina, here's that newspaper article. Do you know anything about the cruel revolutionary? I am knowing nothing. But I am very surprised that the skies look so much like old men in article. Yeah, totally. They didn't look alike at all. Man in brown also says that I look like old man in picture. Personally, I think that the only people who feel that way in this entire wide ocean are just you and that man in brown. Naruhodo. Bad-mouthing Mr. Holmes will not be tolerated. I wasn't bad-mouthing anyone. Shit, sure. Right, we're gonna go through everything. Just in case. Oh. This is the reason why we're in this room, because of the journal. This is the journal that belonged to my friend who passed away. Journal? He wrote about seeing something last night, and we're curious about it. 1 hour and 23 minutes after midnight, I heard a sound like a low whistle. And then, 1 hour and 35 minutes after midnight, I saw a speckled band at the air duct. Speckled band? This cabin's air duct is linked to that to the cabin next door. You can see it right up there. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected. Ah. Nikomina, do you know anything at all about this? About the low whistle the victim heard? Or anything about this speckled band? No. I am knowing nothing. I see. Uh-oh. Please excuse me. I need a moment, Mr. Roylott. What is it? How'd you do that so fast? Same Naruhodo. How did she do that so fast? The captain wants to speak with you about something. Please go to the captain's quarter as soon as possible. Understood. I'm gonna pretend she's got a deep Russian voice when she's in disguise. We'll come at once. Put down the scissors. What is it? Do not ask me that. You must leave. Now. Ah, please don't worry about us. We will be fine, Mr. Roylott. Quit playing! You heard him! Get out, or I throw you out myself! It looks like we won't be able to continue inspecting the cabin right now. This is quite unfortunate. Just like that, we were forcibly removed from the cabin. We didn't even have a second to investigate before we were thrown out of the room. Quite literally thrown out. To be continued. This is a good place to stop. So I think I